I was about 9 years old when I learned that Bill Gates is the richest man in the world. And when I found out what he does for a living, I wanted to become just like him. I wanted to become the richest man in the world. He was an entrepreneur, started a tech company. I also wanted to start a tech company. Now, I don't want to start a tech company, but entrepreneurship is still on my mind. And I did start a business as well. And I don't think I'll stop any of that anytime soon. At the age of about 11 or 12, I started football at around the same time, at the age of 9. At 11, 12, I started gaining more interest in the sport, and by the age of 14, I was playing for an academy in Delhi. I did not make it as a professional player, but I did have, I wouldn't say a career, but I have worked in the industry, in the football industry. And I have liked my experience in it so far. In school, in my final years of school, one of my favorite subjects was economics, and not particularly the economics that I studied in school. The stuff on my curriculum was rather basic. The things that interested me were the online courses that I took and the books that I read. I think in it was 2016 or 2017, I read about 80 books that year, and many of them were books about economics. So I knew if I were to study something in university, it would definitely be economics or something related to that. Right now I am studying economics, second year, about to finish. And the past few months I've been thinking a lot about choosing a career path. I can club football and entrepreneurship together. There is a growing football industry in India. So in entertainment or football business, I know that I have opportunities to make money from and work for the development of the sport as well. But that would leave economics out. And economics in the sense that there are things about India that bother me. Things that bother me more than a lack of development of football in the country. For example, there are 4 particular industries that I am interested in. One is agriculture. Last I checked, it was a few years ago, our agricultural productivity is a lot lower than that of a more developed nation like the United States of America. Now, I don't know if this was the aggregate number or the number for one particular crop. Our productivity was 1/7 of that of the United States. It's a massive difference, and I think we can do a lot better in agriculture. The second industry is tourism. We have thousands of years of history, of culture. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of prominent monuments. One of them is one of the 7 wonders of the world. And despite all of that, we are not amongst the top 40 tourist destinations of the world. There's definitely potential there, and we can do so much better in tourism. Of course, with COVID-19, I don't know when things will be normal again. It could be a while before that happens. But in the long run, definitely something can be done. Third, education and skill development. We are a population of 1.3 billion here in India, and most of us are young. Millions of people enter the workforce every year, and if we don't have the right skills and competences to maximize the opportunities that are available to us, we are going to be far behind our potential. I want to do something about that. And lastly, sports. As I mentioned earlier, we're a population of 1.3 billion. We should be able to do a lot better in international events and tournaments, in sporting events. And that's the last industry I want to work in. And naturally, it was hard for me to find a way to fit all of this into one package. Just a minute. Now, I could club the first 2 interests together, entrepreneurship and football, in a way where I can make money from football as well as divert some of my profits to the development of the sport. But I know that there will always be something inside me that would nag me towards economic and social development. And that includes the four industries I talked about. In India, more than 80% of Indians live on under $5 a day as of 2015. And growing up, I never really realized that I had opportunities that most other kids growing up in India did not have. And that was solely due to the fact that I was born in a family that was well-to-do, that could afford a decent education for me, and all of that ended up in me having all of these opportunities in life that most people don't. That number is particularly striking. Over 80% of India under $5 a day. And growing up, you don't realize that because you're always surrounded by the remaining 20% who live on a number above $5 a day. And that's, as an absolute number, it's a big one, because 20% of India is 250 million people. So if you're always around people who are similar to you in economic or social status, you'll hardly ever realize the realities of life for an average Indian. And that is why I won't be able to do football or entrepreneurship or a combination of just these two. So I figured out if I can do something that would be common across these industries, that would have to do something that would have to be something related to marketing, branding, or say business development, something of that sort. I'm still not sure what that will be. I am learning marketing and branding. I don't know how I'll be using that for the remaining four industries that I'm interested in. And I'll probably figure that out later. But it's for this reason I know that I can't have a full-time career in football, or just in football or entrepreneurship.